Hello and welcome back to Closed Circuit Sports. I'm Drew Goldman, and this is the final for BlueShock and Daytona. Yes, this is months ago now, but you know what? It got us through the off-season. Got our feet wet in this kind of competition. Because I got kind of my baptism of fire in round 10 of the IKC in 206 heavy, but this felt like a first proper go at it. This felt like I was trying out a bunch of things all at once. I had never done a race at this level of venue, against this level of competition, in this level of equipment. All of this was new. And I felt at this point, going into the final, like finishing every session, finishing every lap that was offered to me, was all the success I could ask for. Because these karts were absolutely faster than me. I was not on the pace. I knew that. But I hadn't been on the pace in round 10 of the IKC either. I didn't know why yet. I hope I know why now in the dry. In the wet, I had the pace, and I think I know why. But here, I had no such excuse. Once we were on the right tires, on the right surface, it was game on. And nope. came up a little bit short. Too many mistakes like that. You get crossed up instead of undoing and redoing, actually doing the opposite. I hope that made sense as it came out. 61 down the back straight there on the opening lap. 63 just there. These things were wicked. 34 electric horsepower. Freaking bottomless acceleration. It accelerated until you told it to brake. It was so good. It was so heavy though. I wish I had had like another 100 laps to practice with it. I would have felt pretty confident. But man, in the amount of time that I had, I felt like I was squeezing everything I could safely out of it. I was still running to the edges. You can see how quick the steering is still, how light the steering is in spite of its 460 poundness with my big old clunky self stuck in it. We get done there by Guillermo and Yamori Richardson. If you were with us for the pre-final, you remember Guillermo. Yamori, about as fast. Running really well in the light class. I don't believe we really battle with him. But Guillermo makes his way back toward us. Oh, somebody had a mechanical issue there. Scoot on by. Pulling 1.4, 1.5 lateral through each of these corners. Peak 1.5. I saw maybe even a 6 flash in there. The tires were great. The track was great. At this point in the day, everything was dry. And the tires were not really beat up at this point. We hadn't turned enough laps to beat up the tires. I think it still had the dimples, for God's sakes. Yamori has been knocking on the door for a couple laps now. We're going to see if we can turn anything faster than that 44.7 that we got on lap 2. There it is. Boom. new personal best. When you're out against this level of competition, the best thing that you can do for yourself and your own race and your own pace is to just keep trying to set personal bests. If you can keep on setting personal bests, you are going faster than you should be going. But if you try and race with somebody else who you may or may not have any business hanging on to, you can put yourself in the wall real quick, like 60 miles an hour quick. For the record, these kinds of sprint carts, this level of sprint cart, does not have seat belts. You wear a rib protector. You wear a neck brace maybe. I have a collar. Or you go without the neck brace. I know a lot of guys who do. And you just rock the helmet. And the gloves and the suit and the boots, obviously. The rest of the world calls them boots, but they're not. They're they're like wrestling shoes or boxing shoes. I think it does. Yep, they're there. Those are my Adidas. I'm wearing these currently. These have now been retired to be my sim racing shoes. They were my sim racing shoes until they got promoted into being my karting shoes through K1. And then I had signed up for this, and round 10, IKC, did not have new karting shoes yet. So the sim racing shoes that got promoted to the K1 karting shoes are now, all of a sudden, my actual karting shoes. All they are in reality, $40 Adidas wrestling shoes. I like them though, because they've got the nice, what's the gum bottom? Like that tan look on the bottom, and they're my house shoes basically at this point. Because after this event, they were retired. But it's cool that they've done real racing now. Now that they're back in my sim, back to being my sim and house shoes. Trying to chain these corners together as we got it done on Guillermo there. As I was talking about the shoes. It was a pretty clean, pretty blasé move. We just kind of dipped up the inside. But that was probably our best on-track overtake of the event. That one was on pace. But now he's chasing. Without a doubt, hard. Can't make a mistake now. We haven't set a new fastest lap since lap 4 when we were talking about it, but we did get the move done. So now we're in 9th, I believe. Hanging on to it to the end of this 10-lap final. My biggest disappointment of the entire weekend was how short these sessions were. I wanted more laps, because they had so much more battery than they were letting us use. But as it looks like I'm already getting a little bit tired. Granted, this is our 3rd race of the day, but still. This is our first dry race of the day. Glad that qualifying and the final were both dry. Checkers. And with that, we take our farewell lap of Daytona Sprint Track here in the infield of turn 3 and 4. First time driving a BlueShock X4 was undoubtedly successful. If a little what's the word? Not unsatisfying. It felt like a sample. It felt like a really expensive sample. Like I got to taste it. And I guess that's what arrive and drive racing really is. So I'm glad that at this point I had already pulled the trigger on getting myself an RY30 for this year. I'm glad that I've got the 206 that I'm running this season in the IKC in Sierra. Gonna learn how to do some road racing this year, learn how to do some street racing. Good race to that young man, 100%. Thanks to the WKA, thanks to BlueShock Racing and Artist Doggins, and there were so many guys. There was Evo, there was, I'm trying to remember some of the other names and I just can't. They had a whole crew. They did great with what they had, just like the rest of us did. Everybody who came out to race. It was good meeting Jason Froming. It was good meeting, obviously, the Richardsons right here in front of us. It was good to see that young man Achilles do well this past week in KA100. We'll see what everybody does as we move forward. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back for round 1 of the IKC. Peace.